Let's talk about reasons for a disclaimer of opinion or withdrawing from the engagement as a whole, just getting the heck out of there. The following reasons are those that an auditor would do to disclaim an opinion or withdraw from the engagement. So if you have a significant scope limitation that cannot be addressed by additional substantive testing. So we'll see a lot of times, and I mean, throughout the exam we've seen, if there's a scope limitation, first step is to try to get around it. If management doesn't give you something, certain documentation, well, maybe try something else. Maybe try a different way to get that confirmation, that knowledge. But if you can't use an additional procedure to get around it, then yeah, looks like we may have to get out of there. If the client refuses to give the auditor permission to communicate with external third parties or internal members necessary for the audit, that is definitely quite an important point for what we see here. I mean, really clear cut for scope limitation, very common example. Client's management refusing to furnish a management representation letter. Yeah, that's definitely a problem, right? There's really no way around that. We can't perform additional procedures. Nope. I mean, that's the AICPA says like, hey, that's what we need. We need to get that management rep letter. Client's attorney refused to respond to a letter of audit inquiry. Well, there's really no other place we can get confirmation of the litigation outstanding. So yeah, we're gonna need that letter. And sorry, attorney, we're gonna need you to respond there, or we're gonna have to get out of here and not give an opinion at all. Lastly, the auditor is unable to determine the extent of or the amounts associated with a pervasive employee fraud scheme. Just get out of there. If you can't determine how bad it is, you should probably just get out of there. So those are reasons for disclaiming the opinion or withdrawing from the engagement as a whole. Some more. Management refuses to produce documentation necessary for the audit. That's problematic. Audit evidence does not consist of underlying accounting records and corroborating evidence. Well, yeah, you need to base it on something. You need to base it on that. The auditor lacks independence. Well, that's a problem. You should have probably determined that earlier on. But things can change, right? If independence situations change from the audit, the most responsible thing to do, well, first see if you can correct the issue. But if not, just get out of there. If this is the case, the auditor must disclaim an opinion and cannot issue any type of opinion. You're saying, I can't give an opinion because I'm not independent here, because maybe, we talked about all the possibilities when it came to our independence in the AICPA, PCAOB, all then, right? If you receive a bunch of stock from inheritance, or if one of your family members says, sorry, I'm going to go work for your audit client, well, that would breach independence. You can't really do anything about that. Looks like you may just have to leave, unfortunately. The practitioner did not audit or review the financial statement. Well, if you just didn't do your job, then yeah, for any reason, you're definitely going to want to disclaim that opinion there. Just get the heck out of there. These are the only types of engagements which provide a level of assurance, and as such, an opinion. If you're giving an opinion, you're giving some sort of assurance. Any other engagement must disclaim an opinion. Lastly, the auditor is unable to obtain audited financial statements of a consolidated investee or subsidiary. Can't do any of these items. You're going to want to get the heck out of there. Here we've got a disclaimer of opinion. This is an example that we would see. When there is a reason to disclaim an opinion on an engagement, the following phrasing would be used in the auditor's report. We were engaged to audit the financial statements of ABC and Associates, also known as the entity, which comprise the balance sheet, the statement of profit and loss, and statement of cash flows for the year ended, and the notes, including a summary of significant accounting policies. So a lot of these items we've discussed, talked about in prior lessons. We do not express an opinion on the accompanying financial statements of the entity. Because of the significant matters described in the basis, right, this is where we talk about the reasons why we're getting out of there, we have not been able to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence to provide a basis for an audit opinion on these financial statements. There we go. Again, if you want to get familiar with those as much as you can, feel free. I would just really try to be familiar with the specific terminologies here, be familiar with just the differences between the types of opinions and their paragraphs. I wouldn't say fully memorize this until you're getting every single multiple choice question right. At that point, I'd say come back and memorize these word for word if if it's so desires you. Keep in mind that if the auditor is unable to obtain sufficient appropriate audit evidence, we hear this so much, right? Especially in that evidence lesson, or faces a scope limitation in the audit, the auditor chooses between disclaiming an opinion and qualifying the opinion. Important point to keep in mind, the auditor can try alternate procedures to get around that scope limitation, as we mentioned, However, if there is still remains a material balance or amount that cannot be verified, these are the only actions that can be taken. So you can try your best, can't get around it. Unfortunately, this is what's going to happen.
Hey there! Are you ready to not only pass your CPA exams, but truly understand and enjoy the material while studying? I know it seems impossible, right? Especially to enjoy the material? We'll do it together. Tap into the power of CPA.examprep.ai, where we've got personalized quizzes, multiple choice questions, memorization guides, flashcards, simulations, all tailored to your learning. Our adaptive study planning puts you on the fastest path to success and lifts you back up if you fall behind. Avoid wasting your precious time and money attempting an exam with a low chance of passing, because who wants that? We want to get you through this process as quick as possible. Our exam readiness prediction lets you walk in with confidence, knowing that you're prepared for success on exam day. Thankfully, there's no payment method needed to get started, so why don't you come join us? Visit cpa.examprep.ai and let's achieve your exam success together.